1, 2, 3, come on.
When I want to write something to tell you more about the verb, I can use adverbials, it's detailed to my words. When I want to write something to tell you more about the verb, I can use adverbials, it's detailed to my words.
So let me tell you about frequency. Frequency explains how often something happens. How often. So let me tell you about frequency. Frequency explains how often something happens. How often.
You could use sometimes,
Sometimes.
repeatedly,
Repeatedly.
normally,
Normally.
once,
Once.
occasionally,
Occasionally.
hardly ever,
Hardly ever.
seldom,
Seldom.
never.
Never.
When I want to write something to tell you more about the verb, I can use adverbials, it's detailed to my words. When I want to write something to tell you more about the verb, I can use adverbials, it's detailed to my words.
This is Jay Chambers. I'm here on behalf of Tesapon Wakrompo to teach you a little bit of English. And if you remember, last week we practiced our daily routines. I hope you practiced on how to say them and what they meant. Today is Wednesday, May 6th, 2020. Remember, when you say the 6th, you say sixth. Have a th sound at the end. This is called an ordinal number. You say it with the days of the month. Okay? And it is lesson 2. Today we are going to practice adverbs of frequency. Adverbs of frequency tell us how often we do something. How often do you brush your teeth? How often do you sleep? How often do you go to school? All right? And how often means boy can I. Boy can I. All right? So, we start off with always. All right? You could say, I always eat pizza. That means all the time. So always is 100% of the time. Wait, 100%. I always eat pizza. I don't eat vegetables. I don't eat beef. I don't eat chicken. I always eat pizza. My ching. That's how we use it, okay? You can say, I always go to school on Mondays. All right? That means every Monday I go to school. All right? So everybody repeat after me. Always. Always. All right, good. Next, we have usually. Usually. Usually is about 75% of the time. I usually, let me see. I usually drink water with my pizza. 75% of the time I drink water with my pizza. But 25%, I'll drink Pepsi. All right? So 75% of the time, usually. Ready? Usually. Okay. Next, we have sometimes. Sometimes. Sometimes is about 50%. It's not all the time. It's not all the time. It's not most of the time. It's about half of the time. All right? Sometimes I get hungry for hamburgers. Sometimes I get hungry for hamburgers. So yakin hamburgers sometimes. Okay? 50%. Ready? Sometimes. Sometimes. All right? Our next word is rarely. Rarely. And that would be 25%. So not very often. I rarely eat vegetables. I rarely eat vegetables. I always eat pizza. I rarely have vegetables on my pizza. Okay? So rarely. Rarely. And the last one is never. Never. Never is 0%. I never eat bara. I never eat durian. They're both stinky. I won't eat them. I never. And don't put them on my pizza. Okay? Pizza is good. Durian, bara, bad. Alright? Kauj man? Alright. So never means never. Okay? You never do it. Now, we have a worksheet. This is with our online lesson. You should have this. I hope you can print it out. And we're going to go over it. All right? We're going to match them to our pictures. All right? Now we can use always, sometimes, usually, rarely, and never. All right? That's what we're going to use. Often means a lot too. That wasn't put on here, but that's okay. All right? So the first one is Peter and surf. Do you know what surf is? Surf is when you're on the ocean. All right? Surf is right up here. Surf. Okay? So how do we write this now? We have the name Peter. Peter. Now, we have to choose one of the words. How often does Peter surf? Okay? I'll say he lives in California. He loves the water. I'll say he usually surfs. All right? So you write Peter usually. Now, we have the verb surf. Surf. Peter is one person. He, she, it. You add an S. Surfs. Okay? Peter usually surfs. You got that? Next, we have children build sandcastle. Or sandcastles. Alright, so children build like that. Good. Children. How often do they build sandcastles? Let's say sometimes. Okay, let's say children sometimes build sandcastles. Now we have to have an S on sandcastles because there's no A. Alright, if there was an A, we'd say build a sandcastle. Plus, the verb is build. Children is 2, 3, 4, 5. So it would be they. They build. It's not he, she, it. So no S. Number 3. Let's see. I read a book. How often do I read a book? I love to read. So I'm going to say, I always read a book. I always read a book. Every time you see me with a book or my tablet, right? I always read a book. So, read and I read. One person. No S. All right, next word. 4. The boys play soccer or football. We'll say football because that's what everybody here knows, right? The boys, what do we have not used yet? Boys love to play football in Thailand, right? So, boys usually play football, right? The boys usually play football. Here's usually, that's 75% boys love to play football. Boys play because it's not more than one, right? Next one, number 5. My family watch TV. My family rarely watches TV. We don't watch much TV. We like to get on the computer. So, it's my family rarely, just not very often, rarely watches TV. Now look at this. There are a couple things you need to know. My family was 1, so we have S or ES. When it ends in CH, the verb needs ES. It's not an S. You got that? All right. So my family rarely watches TV. Number 6. My father climbed. Now, I haven't been going over these very well, have I? I'll have to show you. Climb is like you climb a rope, or you climb a ladder. All right? You climb a mountain. So that's climb. My father never climbs. All right? He just doesn't climb. My father never climbs. Again, my father's 1, so we need an S at the verb. Number 7, my grandfather. My grandfather never fishes. My grandfather's dead. So I don't think he fishes in heaven. I don't know. All right? But fish, tokla, right? Ooh, fish. All right? I don't fish either. I never catch anything, and I fall in. Okay? My grandfather bewaray. Boo, right? My grandfather never fishes. SH is another one. When it has SH, you write ES after. Got that? Number 8. My sister rarely plays the guitar. She can't play. But she likes to play on the strings. Lang, lang, lang. All right? She can't play well, so she rarely plays. My sister rarely plays the guitar. Rarely. That's not very often. Play, Lynn. Right? We use play with instruments like violin, guitar, drums, piano. I play the piano. Got that? So, next word. I'm going to move up here. I should have started here on the first place. We're going to go backwards here. Number 9. Number 9. It says, you go to the theater. Now, this is how often can I, right? So how often do you go to the theater? You go to the theater, right? So how do we write that? We can write how often. This means, boy, can I? All right? How often do you go to the theater? Theater is a place that we watch plays. This is a question. So, how often? Boy, can I? We use that with all of these. You could say, how often does Peter surf? Peter usually surfs, is the answer. Got that? It's the question that goes along with it. All right? Number 10. I jog. I never jog. I'm fat, I know. I never jog. All right? So, I never jog. I like to watch other people jog. It's fun to watch other people work, but I don't like to do it. All right. Next one. The boss work. Oh, the boss is always working, right? My boss works all the time. I have a few bosses. My wife, and the director, and the vice director, they're all my bosses. And they're always working. All right? So, the boss always work or works. Which one do I use? The boss is one person, so S. Next, the boss always works. Fish swim. Fish, why not? Right? Do fish swim a lot? Boy, can I. Right? Fish swim, boy, can I. Let's see. We have fish. I'm going to say usually swim because sometimes fish are sleeping. Or they're dead. All right, fish usually swim. 13. We have your grandmother cook. All right. How often does your grandmother cook? So your grandmother cooks. Because grandmother's one person. Your grandmother cooks. How often does she cook? Let's see. Let me fix that. Your grandmother sometimes cooks. Sometimes your mother cooks, right? All right. Your grandmother sometimes cooks. I hope she doesn't cook bara. So make her cook something good, like pakapao or something like that. All right? Number 14, Shirley. Shirley is a girl's name. I have an Aunt Shirley. Sunbathe. All right? Sunbathe means try to get tan. Now, Farangs like to get tan. Thai people like to get white. So we're different. We call it sunbathing. We bathe in the sun. But we don't need a bathtub. We can just lay on a towel or something. So, Shirley, sometimes sunbathes. Alright? Sometimes. And 15, the girls meet friends. When you meet friends, you are jerpun. Right? Jerpun. So, the girls usually meet friends because girls like to talk a lot, right? Usually meet friends. And last one. For my family, we rarely travel. We like to stay home, and people drive kind of crazy. So we rarely travel. Travel means to move around, to go to different towns, to visit on vacation, visit family. That's to travel. We rarely travel. All right, now this is your worksheet. I want you to find what goes with what. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Write the numbers. All right, I'm not going to help you with this until next time. All right, find the numbers and then write. I want you to write you can use different adverbs of frequency. You can say Peter never surfs. Maybe Peter doesn't like the ocean. All right, but you can use any adverbs of frequency you think works. All right, so do you have any questions? No? Poon, put your hand down. I'm not answering questions right now. Okay? I'll see you guys later. Again, this is Jay Chambers for Tesabang Wakrungpo. Remember to go over your worksheets. And just for fun, we are going to add a game. You can play with whoever you can find or play by yourself. You just need one piece of dice. We call it a die. And roll and go around. You start at the beginning and finish. Alright? You say, I eat pizza. I always eat pizza. Alright? That's all you have to do. And go around and play. Alright? So, I will see you later. Goodbye.
When I want to write something to tell you more about the verb, I can use adverbials as detail to my words. When I want to write something to tell you more about the verb, I can use adverbials as detail to my words.
So let me tell you about frequency. Frequency explains how often something happens. How often. So let me tell you about frequency. Frequency explains how often something happens. How often.
You could choose sometimes,
Sometimes.
repeatedly,
Repeatedly.
normally,
Normally.
once,
Once.
occasionally,
Occasionally.
hardly ever,
Hardly ever.
seldom,
Seldom.
never.
Never.
When I want to write something to tell you more about the verb, I can use adverbials as detail to my words. When I want to write something to tell you more about the verb, I can use adverbials, it's detailed to my words.